Hey, Slamfire is live. Oh, you did the air fingers.
Yeah, man, you gotta like wait like just a second or two
Okay.
until it's go. Okay, that's a second or two though, definitely.
Okay. Okay. A second or two for what? To go live?
Yeah, because
Start
usually
like I'll
we're
give you the pause before the interview. This is just
mm,
the hey, we're live ramblings.
yeah,
So yeah. So Paul, you're all set, man?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. How's his audio there, Adriel?
sounds good to me.
Okay. And all right, cool. Ready? Do I need air guns for this too, or just going?
No, we're already live.
Yeah, I know, but I'm worried more about the. Oh yeah, I got to get the Facebook chat going or the YouTube chat going.
The YouTubes.
The YouTubers.
And turn the volume down.
Couple of them on right now.
Bill
Yeah.
Wilson, Greg May, hey all. All right, okay, we ready to go?
Yeah, why not?
All right, joining us this week, we have a special treat. We've got an IPSC shooter all the way from The Rock. And I'm not talking about some lame prison movie that took place in San Francisco. I'm
Lame
talking about
prison music movie. Come on.
really, dude. Anything with he's so forgettable. I don't even remember his name. The guy doesn't matter.
What's his face?
Yeah, the other fella. So The Rock is in Newfoundland. So joining us this week, we have Paul Barrow, a member of IPSC Newfoundland, to come on the show and chat with us about IPSC in Newfoundland. So Paul, welcome to Slamfire.
Thanks, guys. Glad to be here.
Before we get started, I need you to know that before the show started, I had a phone call with a gentleman by the name of Rick Crane. Does that name mean anything to you?
Rick Crane is our section coordinator.
Right. He's
Great
the
guy.
man. He's in charge of all things IPSC on the island, and he wanted me to remind you that you are not authorized to speak on behalf in any official capacity for IPSC Newfoundland. He told me to tell you that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He told me though if I could text him throughout the interview if we need to get something clarified by him. So,
Oh, yeah. Well, I told him I was coming down there. I asked him if he wanted me to tell anything, but basically just what's been going on, more so than what our opinions might be.
yeah. Oh, IPSC shooters with opinions can't be.
No,
So,
never heard of
well,
him.
why don't we start with you telling us a little bit about yourself and your involvement in IPSC, and then we'll get into how the section got started over there. So, what about you? How long have you been doing it, and what are you at with your involvement?
I did my black badge course in 2014, so not too long ago.
Mm-hmm.
Since then, I've been shooting standard. I'm two-time Newfoundland standard champion.
Nice.
Last year, I came in second. Rick beat me.
Oh.
Is Rick the other shooter from Newfoundland?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, there's two of us.
Two of you in standard, or just the two of you?
Last year, I believe we had 25 members,
Nice.
and I think we doubled it in a year.
Wow, that's awesome. So you're shooting standard, so single action 40 caliber gun typically, and you shoot 2011, don't you?
Yeah, I got a Edge 2011 with beautiful lightning cuts in the slide.
You know, Rick.
Close by them. Go ahead.
Rick just bought my 10 Fogel Limited Custom Extreme, right?
Yeah, he beat me with it last weekend.
Perfect. See, my guns win.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who holds them.
Wow, just so that was a good thing. Yeah, we just had a match down in Marystown area, town called Winterland, which is a club that we just started this year. I done taught a black badge course, myself and John Pinto taught a black badge course down there August, I think.
Okay.
Trying to remember. I can't remember the date, but it was before nationals and all that. So that was our third one this year, and we're working on a fourth now for Gander in October.
Wow. So let's go back to you a little bit. So for you to attend matches, Newfoundland is way out there on the East Coast. Where is your next closest club outside of Newfoundland?
Outside of Newfoundland, the closest IPSC club would be Nova Scotia.
Okay. And how long would it take you to get there to shoot a match in Nova Scotia?
I got a 8-hour drive across the island and then a 7-hour ferry ride.
And then that puts you in Cape Breton. And then you got to drive.
Yeah, so then I got about 5-6 hours to probably Halifax. Actually, it might be quicker to go to New Brunswick.
Yeah, but
or just build more, like get more shooters going in Newfoundland.
Right. Yeah,
run more matches there.
Yeah, but when you want to leave for a match.
Yeah, what we've done over the past 2 years, last year I got myself and Rick both became certified as black badge instructors, and early this year John Pinto got his black badge instructor status. In the past 2 years, between myself, Rick, John, and Steve Japeski, we've been teaching black badge courses all over the island. So we've been teaching St. John's, where Rick, John, and Steve are too. We've been teaching courses here in Claremont, where I live too, which is about an hour and 45 minutes west of St. John's. We've done a course in Winterland, which is around 2 hours south of Claremont. We've done, and Rick has done 2 black badge courses, one last year and one this year, in Deer Lake, Newfoundland, which is on the west coast over by Corner Brook.
Wow. So you've left to go to how many nationals now?
This past one would be my 3rd in a row.
Okay, so you did Halifax, Calgary, and then Winnipeg?
And then Winnipeg, yeah.
Yeah.
And I managed to get 36th place this year in Winnipeg.
Cool. That your best one?
That was my best one. Best but worse.
Best but worse.
Yeah. I managed to squeak that in with 16 misses.
Oh wow. 16 misses. You struggled. That was so I bet, and I think I know where all the misses were too, because I probably had wherever you had a miss. I didn't have 16, but I know that you and I probably missed some of the same targets. There was a few stages that could chew a guy up and spit him out if he didn't shoot it careful.
First day, I was first day morning shooter, alphabetical order, first shooter up, first stage. I had 5 misses for that first stage. It was the horseshoe one.
Yep.
With the minis with the drop wall.
Mm-hmm.
I had some trouble with the minis there. I was going a little too fast.
Yep.
Probably a little bit too much adrenaline going.
Yeah, well, you've got to slow down the cadence, right? You've got to pop up, pop up, pop up, pop up, and all of a sudden you come to the minis, you got to go pop, 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 pop. You got to control yourself and slow it down. You can't carry that cadence and that momentum onto some of the harder shots. You got to adjust your cadence. So.
Oh, definitely. My biggest issue, and I know what it is I have a problem with pulling off a target too soon. Mm-hmm. So I'll shoot the first target perfectly. Second target, I'll shoot one center, and I'll have one miss.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like 1, 2, 3, 4 off.
Yeah, you're giving up on the shot before it's done. You got to follow through. So.
Yeah.
And you've been to SummerSlam. You've been to SummerSlam now a couple of times, right? Twice.
I've been to SummerSlam once.
Okay, just once.
And still best match I ever shot.
There you go. You shot 3 nationals. SummerSlam was the best match. I'd love to hear about all the reasons why, but this isn't about SummerSlam.
or your ego.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's hard, Adriel. It's hard.
I was supposed to shoot SummerSlam this year, but unfortunately couldn't make it because of work obligations.
Yeah, but you got a spot for 28 or 19, so yeah, which is saying something because 200 spots sold out in 3 days. So give or take. I mean, we had 105 people register in the first 8 hours. So, okay, so Newfoundland and Labrador. Is there anything going on in Labrador, or is it all on the island?
There has been there was a small group in Labrador before my time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they lasted. I don't know why. I think it might have to do with similar issues that we're having now. That we need ROs. We have 5 areas now, and we only have maybe 6 to 8 ROs on the island right now. And we got a bunch of areas that can't shoot sanctioned matches unless we come out and host it for them.
Well, isn't you've got something in the works, I believe, though.
Yeah, I believe Rick just got all that straightened out now.
Yeah, so you'll be able to before Christmas, you're going to have your own RO instructor. So
I believe that's the plan.
Yeah, and of course, you're always welcome to come over to the mainland to take any classes going on here. I'm not going to speak for Nova Scotia, but I'm pretty sure that it would be as simple as an email, and you'd get into their classes too. So
yeah.
Of course, it's easier to send one instructor to the island than send guys off the island, but
for sure. I know that as far as I know, myself, Rick, John, Steve are supposed to be doing CRO course at some point. And I would say a couple of us would be doing our own instructor training after that.
Same time, yeah. Oh, you'll get it all in the same weekend. Yeah. So let's talk about the formation then of IPSC Newfoundland. For the listeners who aren't aware, to have an IPSC section, you need 20 members. So obviously, IPSC Newfoundland has been maintaining 20 members. You've doubled since last year. So what year did the section get up and running? And how did that whole process work? Did you have to join another section, then go home to Newfoundland, or did you just? How did that work? You had to get your training somewhere. How did the whole thing get started?
Well, here in Newfoundland, oddly enough, it first originated here in Clarenville with the first original 9 members, which is all they had at the time. Flew an instructor down from Ontario. I don't know the year or the instructor. I know it was back in like late 80s, early 90s, I would say. And then back in the times when the long gun registry came in, everybody got scared to own guns and everything died down, and it moved to St. John's. And then after a while, St. John's had built up over a period of time, and then you had guys like what was his name? Corey Day and guys like that were going out and shooting matches. They've been to several nationals, stuff like that, and done well. But it slowly died out again, and we're just trying to really bring it back to life again here now by spreading it out across the island and getting more shooters involved.
Because right
Rick
now,
could probably give you more details about when it started and stuff like that.
So you're coming on the show tonight to talk about how IPSC started in Newfoundland, but I should be talking to Rick?
Well, he knows more about the dates and stuff when it started. I won't know more about what's going on now than what happened in the past.
Fair. Well, I guess it's not an important part of the story.
Yeah, I mean, if you've increased it from 25 to 50, I think, or at least you've been a part of that, I think that's the more important part, right? Because like the original establishment is important, but also like you got to grow it to an appreciable amount of people. So you've got more ROs, you've got more money coming in, and you've got the critical mass behind the thing to keep it running, right?
Oh, absolutely. Right now, behind the scenes, all the work that Rick's been doing, and Steve and John and everybody else, it's really been a group effort. We got our quartermaster, Matty Pettipas, doing a great job. It's just really working really well all around. We're working good as a group together, and things are really moving forward.
And how many clubs are actively having matches right now?
Right now we've got St. John's, Clarenville, and Winterland. So 3 right now. Deer Lake is not up and running yet until we get ROs out there. But we told them that if they want to plan a match, we will come out and RO for them.
Nice. So where do you see IPSC Newfoundland in 5 years?
In 5 years, I'd like to see all, if not most, clubs on the island hosting IPSC matches. The plan next year for the schedule is to have a scheduled match, one in each area, once a month, and then each area can have their own matches whenever they want.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be scheduled by IPSC Newfoundland. This week, this month's in Clarenville, next month St. John's, next month Winterland, next month Deer Lake, after that Gander. Gander is going to be a new one, going to be opening up soon. I'm going out there October 13th and 14th, I believe. We're going out there and teaching another black badge course out there. I think right now we got 4 or 5 signed up for that one.
Awesome.
Yeah. So it's taking a bit of time, but we're moving forward.
Does IPSC have any competition for the shooters on the island? Like, there seems to be a fair number of gun clubs there. What are the members using the ranges for? Are they just plinking and sighting in their moose rifle, or is there any kind of organized active shooting sport already on the island?
St. John's Rod and Gun Club, they got a big trap. They do a lot of trap shooting, sporting clay, stuff like that. Winterland, same thing. Out here in Clarenville, we're trying to get set up good for trap. We just bought a brand new trap machine, spent $8,000. So we're slowly moving forward on that. Gander, they shoot trap there. So most places on the island are mostly trap. There's a lot of plinking going on. A lot of, moose rifle sighting, and that's basically what I've been doing the past week. Sighting in rifles for guys.
Now, how has IPSC been received by the executives at these clubs and the members? Are they kind of fuddy, or are they open to the idea of a dynamic shooting sport?
Mixed. Most of them are pretty open. Deer Lake, they were all for it. One of their members got it organized for us to come out there and shoot it for them between him and Rick. Winterland, we had a couple of guys from down Winterland Club came to Clarenville and done a black badge course with me, and they were on the executive down there. And when they went back down, they talked about it with their club, and they ordered 8 or 9 guys down there this summer. We taught a black badge course too. I got in touch with Gander. They were fairly open to it. First, they mentioned that they were shut down for renovations or something, so didn't seem interested. But now they got a bunch of guys interested there. So far, it's been pretty good. Most executives around here are pretty much for it. I've also been in talks with the president of the Elliston Rod and Gun Club, which is about hour and 20 minutes, hour and a half north of me here. And he was also interested in having us come down there and possibly putting out a black badge course.
Nice.
So it's been pretty good. So we're almost up to most of the clubs on the island now. We're in contact with most of them. There's a couple that I'm not sure about. Don't know actually how many we have here at the moment, because not everybody is modernized with websites and whatnot.
Oh, you're growing faster than Prince Edward Island, that's for sure. There's been a couple of trickle of IPSC shooters coming over from the island to take their black badges, and as soon as we have 20, they can form their own section and manage themselves and do their own black badges and stuff. We've got one RO already over there. A couple of guys would be ready to take their RO class. There are some IPSC shooters there from years ago. I think once upon a time they did have a section, and like Newfoundland, it kind of went away. but it certainly
Oh, I think my stepfather just came to kidnap my dog.
sounds that way. Yeah. Oh, where's it going?
Into a squirrel hole, I think.
Yeah,
Rabbit hole?
Yeah.
Squirrel hole?
Yeah.
Rabbit hole.
a dog hole or a dog kennel. I don't even know. Adriel, you ask me a question, it'll come back to me. Thank God for editing.
Thank God for editing, he says. How often do you edit, Trevor?
Exactly. Thank God you edit, Adriel.
How often do I edit? Oh boy, I put together the show. What do you shoot?
Oh yeah, that's it. Never mind. Your question sucks, Paul. How many people were you a handgun guy before IPSC, or did you discover IPSC and then bought a handgun?
I got it. Well, me and some friends, I was always big into hunting and stuff like that. So I went and got my PAL, and then right after I went and got my RPAL. And I'm a research junkie, so I bought a gun, so I want to know how to use it. So what I do, I went to YouTube and researched, handguns, shooting. What did I find? IPSC.
Yeah.
Oh, this looks like a lot of fun. So I looked around. I know I've friends of mine for years. Like I said, one of the original members of IPSC Newfoundland, Jerry Stacy, he was like telling me all about it from back in his day of shooting. So I was like, this is definitely something I really need to get into. So I started looking around, found a club in St. John's, contacted them, sent in my application, get signed up for a course. I believe Don and Jasmine Chafe were the black bass instructors at the time. And myself and Andy Hancock, another guy from here, Braden Elliott, went out and done the course. I believe you met Andy before in Nova Scotia.
Oh yeah, possible. Yeah.
Fortunately, he hasn't been able to shoot any larger events since, but I believe he's going to make it to provincials, hopefully.
Awesome.
So then I got into shooting IPSC then, and like I said, within a couple of years, I was top of the leaderboard.
Nice. And what did you start with for a pistol?
I started with an M&P range kit.
Oh yeah,
9mm.
Yeah.
And after a little while, I put a fiber wrap front sight on it, Apex trigger, done a couple other things, and then I decided that
since you were in standard, now you'd get a standard gun.
Yeah, well, I was like, this gun is starting to not keep up with me anymore.
Right.
And I found a really good deal on the STI Edge.
Yep.
I believe I paid. It was a state sale. $2,500 I paid for the gun, 4 mags, belt, holster, and mag pouches.
That's a sweet deal.
Yeah, that was about as good as it gets.
Yeah, absolutely. So now, are you seeing, or were you seeing, people shooting handguns just plinking recreationally at the range, or is it pretty much all non-restricted stuff?
No, there's a lot of plinking going on at the range, and we've had like some cowboy action type shoots and some 3-gun shoots and stuff out there.
Okay. 3-gun Newfoundland, Adriel. You know, you want in on that. One of the stages.
Never heard of it.
That one of the stages will be put on your rain gear and grab the cod and put it in the barrel, grab the gun.
There's a boat, of course.
Of course.
Yeah.
We actually had a myself and another guy were actually registered as a 3-gun nation club here.
Really?
But couldn't get enough interest. People coming in. It's hard enough to get people to come out and shoot one gun. Like here, it's like you have a rifle shoot. It's like we'll say, okay, bring 40 rounds. We're doing this, this, and this. They show up, want to shoot 5 rounds, and go home. Strange.
I like shooting more than 5. Maybe like 100 of each gun. Somewhere around
exactly.
150 maybe.
Yeah. Not everyone's like that, but you get a few that are like that. It's more or less, I don't know, they don't want to spend the money to be at it, kind of. And then I'm like, well, why even show up? You know how it
Yeah,
is.
that's a little cheap.
Yeah. But no, we tried it. We only had 4 or 5 guys that used to come out to shoot the 3-gun. But around here, we got a lot of hunters, mostly. It's slow moving getting the guys into the restricted stuff, but although it's growing pretty fast.
Yeah, it's continuing to grow. I was just checking our our 3-gun stats from around Edmonton here, and we've been growing. We grew like 25% in 2017, and we saw 75% growth just in the number of shooters that came out and shot a match in 2018. So it's starting to get really popular.
Yeah. Another thing that's hard here too is there's not a lot of facilities that are large enough and built good enough to hold those type of matches. Now St. John's every year, the IDPA group have a zombie 3-gun match, which is pretty fun.
Oh,
I haven't shot it in a couple of years, I think. But I think the 1 year that I did shoot it, I think it was 3rd or 4th place.
nice. Yeah. So you talk about facilities. That was my next question. How long do you expect before you'll have a club suitable to set up a good level 3 match, or could you even pull one off already, like right now?
It'd be really hard for us to pull off a level 3 match without outside help. We don't have a range master. I know it's not. I don't think it's mandatory, but it would be nice.
Yeah, for a 3.
We don't have enough CROs. We're lacking CROs. St. John's Rod and Gun Club would probably be the only one that would be close right now.
Yeah,
they got 3 ranges that we could use.
Yeah,
but you'd have to design the stages around, 3 areas, and that would be it. So you'd be limited to 3 squads or 6 if you shot, 3. You shot half in the morning and half in the afternoon, and it'd be limited numbers, be small numbers, right?
Yeah, as far as range master and CROs, those people you could outsource. They could come to your match, and you could always self RO like we do at SummerSlam. So you wouldn't have to worry about having enough RO or CROs. You just populate your squads with the CRO that goes with the squad and works with the squad.
Yeah, exactly. But the size of the range and the bays and stuff, I think, is the big issue right now to hold a bigger match, unless you got permission from the CFO to bring in big hay bales and stuff like you see at some ranges do. We're a ways away from being able to hold some nationals, even though everybody keep asking us every time we show up to one.
Yeah. Really? When are you guys getting the nationals? That's cool. You know why?
Every time we go, because they want to come.
Yep.
Everybody wants to come here.
That's right. They just want to go to the Rock and party.
Now we've got a couple coming from Alberta for our provincials. Not this weekend, but next weekend is our provincials.
Wow.
Same weekend as Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
And we've had a guy from Alberta come down last year and shot our provincials.
Wow.
We put the invitation out. We tried to line up. It took a while. We were trying to line up so our provincials and Nova Scotia provincials would be a weekend apart.
Mm-hmm.
Because we had a few guys. I know Jan Snyderbanger was looking to come out and shoot both matches.
Mm-hmm.
But we just couldn't get organized at the time to find out who was having their match win.
So how many stages? It's going to be level 2, obviously, but how many stages is it going to be?
We got a level 2, 12 stages.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a good size level 2 match.
Yeah. Rick already got everything posted up, and we registered through Practice Score. You got all the stages listed there in Practice Score that you can look over. You got a really good job done with it. I'm excited to take my title back.
I'd like to get over there for a match, but it's going to have to be during the summer. I can go to Halifax and drive home on a Sunday night and make it to work the next day, but no, not Newfoundland. That's a flight out of Halifax for me and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's a bit hard to travel.
Might
That's for
be a
sure.
cool.
If you're in Halifax, it wouldn't be so bad because it's only hop on a plane, but
Yeah.
to drive down and fly over.
Yeah.
But all the same, I drove all the way to New Brunswick for SummerSlam and drove all the way back.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say I could do it as a road trip in the summertime, and it would be a really cool road trip.
It would be a great trip for you and the wife for sure.
Oh well, I don't know about that. She's not so big on being in the car for more than 25 minutes. So, and she doesn't shoot IPSC. If it's all the same to you, I'll bring an IPSC shooter with me.
Bring Matt.
There you go. I don't know if he's ever been to Newfoundland. Probably. But
well, if there's two ways of coming if you're driving over in the summertime, we run two ferries. There's the Port aux Basques ferry and the Argentia ferry.
Yeah.
Port aux Basques ferry is a quick one. The Argentia brings you. Argentia is not far from Whitburn, which you're basically on the eastern side of the island.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so you can do a round trip that way, but if you come through Port aux Basques, you can pretty much get to see the whole island.
Yeah, I would do Port aux Basques.
Yeah, so you come to Port aux Basques, you're going to see Corner Brook, Deer Lake, Grand Falls, Gander, Clarenville, St. John's.
Been to Gander, been to St. John's, been to Belle Isle. When you came to SummerSlam, did you drive through Quebec or did you do the ferry?
No, we came up through Nova Scotia.
Okay, so you did the ferry. You didn't go up to you didn't go up into Labrador and cross over and drive down.
Yeah, we came across the ferry and then up through North Sydney, Nova Scotia, and New Brunswick.
What's the ferry cost?
Ooh, that's a good question. My dad paid for it.
Fair enough.
I think it's like I think for a car it's a couple $100 and then so much per passenger.
Okay. So we'll wrap this up by you telling us what's in store for IPSC Newfoundland next year and yourself. Where are you going? What are you doing? And anything big happening next year for IPSC Newfoundland?
Next year, I think the biggest trip for all of us, I think me, Rick, and John are all signed up for SummerSlam next year because I don't think we're going to do Nationals.
Okay.
As a big commitment for us to take a week off and, go shoot a match. We're hoping next year that we'll continue on growing the sport like we did this past couple of years, I'm assuming. We want to, get the numbers out, make it as big as we can. And I said the big accomplishment would be getting CROs and range officer instructor would be a huge leap for us. Huge leap.
Awesome. Well, I think you had an instructor lined up. So hopefully that's going to happen. If something happens, it doesn't, I'm a phone call away and we'll figure something out before spring. And whatever I can do to help you guys out, I will be more than happy to assist. Whether it's you guys coming here or me going there, whatever, we'll get something done to help you guys moving forward.
Yeah, sounds great.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us tonight, Paul. It was a lot of fun. And
absolutely.
We'll be talking to you. You and I chat pretty much a couple of times every few weeks about something or other anyway. So we'll stay in touch, and I probably won't see you before then. So I'll definitely see you at SummerSlam.
Excellent.
All right. Take care, man. I love those accents. One time he said something I thought I was going to have to translate. He said, where Rick is too. You know what that means in Newfoundlandese? Do you speak Newfoundlandese?
No, we don't get exposed to it. You get exposed to it on the rigs here. But
right. Yeah. So stay where you're at. I'll come where you're too. Means wait for me. I'm on my way. I'll be right there. But when he says where Rick is too, that means where Rick lives. Or where Rick stays. So if he says we're going to head on over to where Rick is too, that means we're going to where Rick is.
Lives.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Well, it depends on the context. It could be he's across the room over there. We're going to go to where Rick is too. But where you're to is where you're at.
All right.
Newfoundlandese 101. All right. Shall we start this thing?
Yep.
All right. Show notes.
Time.
Let me know when you're ready. Okay, see, when I go to the show notes, I can't see you. So you can point at the screen all you want. I'm getting ready to read the show notes.
Okay, read the show notes.
Hello and welcome to Slam Fire Radio, episode 272 for September 20th, 2018. I am one of your hosts, Trevor the Frelatte.
And I'm Adriel, the frosty hunting guy.
I was really hoping you would combine those two. I'm like, he's going to go hunting your guy. He's going to go hunting your guy. Oh, Frosty the hunting your guy. I like it. That's good. Combine the nicknames. Awesome. Yep. So unfortunately, Kelly's unable to make it tonight. She's had a bit of a tragedy. Well, a friend had a tragedy, and she's having to attend her friend's pet's funeral because she's actually, as an aunt, the pallbearer. So that's a thing that's happening.
Are you sure we didn't do this one yet?
Well, it wasn't crossed out.
So
if you don't cross them out, how am I to know? We have a system.
Yeah.
And now no one's going to believe it's true. Some dude actually believed I hurt my back chasing a beaver. I have the PMs to prove it. It's hilarious. Man.
Maybe he thought it was a figure of speech, though.
I don't know if he really thought it was an innuendo. I'm not sure. Maybe the joke's on me and I missed it. I don't know. All I know is, man, it's good to be back. I haven't been here since before the Nationals in Winnipeg?
Yeah. I'd imagine you're what you did in guns. I'm going to take a nap here, probably.
Yeah, you do that. I will just ramble to the audience and to the 11 people watching us. Does that make us the number one live podcast?
Podcart, definitely. I'm not sure about podcast.
That's right. We are the number one live Podcart. Did we explain where the Podcart joke came from?
I hope so.
All right. Well, let's pretend we did and move on.
Yeah.
So we'll get into what we did this week in guns. And what we did this week in guns is brought to you by the Calgary Shooting Center, Canada's premier firearms retailer. As of September 15th, Calgary Shooting Center has CCI Blazer Brass 9mm 124 grain full metal jacket ammunition for just $259. That's per 1,000, by the way. I didn't say that, but so you're clear, that is for a case of 1,000, and that's brass. That's the aluminum case price, so that's pretty darn good. $259 plus tax. Awesome. So stop in, say hi. Don't be a communist. Tell Jeff I said hello, and yeah. So, well, Adriel, I'm going to go first because I have a ton of stuff.
Well, speaking of the Calgary shootings, should I mail this over to you?
Oh, is this my certificate?
Well, my certificate right now, but
yes, you should mail that to me.
I could mail it to you. Do you want a PMAG engraving as well?
No, I don't need a PMAG. You know what you're going to keep that for? You're going to get the new Slamfire logo laser engraved on one of your mags.
Oh, yeah.
That's why you're going to keep that. You're welcome.
All right.
That brilliant idea is worth a 10% discount on that on that Dipling job.
Hey, ideas are nothing. Execution's everything.
Oh, there now. Oh, speaking of execution, I can't spell the word first, apparently. Yeah, so what I did this week in guns started back in August with the Nationals in Winnipeg. So came home from vacation long enough to work SummerSlam, and then that means I didn't report on SummerSlam either. So real quickly, SummerSlam 12 went off without a hitch. I personally finished third in Classic 2 years in a row now, top 3 in Classic at SummerSlam, which is pretty good because a lot of the same guys you see at Nationals, you see at SummerSlam. It was boring almost, Adriel. There was nothing to do. It went off completely without a hitch. It was amazing. I'm working on my range master status, so I got to do some mentoring with the president of the National Range Officer Institute of Canada, Jim Smith, who was the co-range master this year. I invited him to be the range master so that I could learn some range mastery type stuff from him. And so that was a lot of fun. A week later, I worked under him at the Nationals in Winnipeg. So went to Halifax, actually did some practice with him and Captain Andy. I figured out that I can disassemble a 1911 while shooting it. So this is a visual. I'm sorry for the listeners who can't see, but the way I grip a 1911 is very, very high. And if you look here, Adriel, you'll see that my trigger finger, when it's out of the trigger guard, pushes on the weak side safety. Well, on Captain Andy's gun, I have to file my weak side safeties way, way down so that I don't engage the safety with my trigger finger. And with Captain Andy's gun, I was shooting it and I actually bumped it to that sweet spot that's halfway, the halfway notch where you can take the safety out of the gun. Well, I did that while shooting, and the plunger and spring, the spring that holds the safety and the slide stop into the gun that goes in that tube right there, that went shooting out of the gun, and we lost it on the range. It was hilarious. Andy, what's wrong with your gun? A little payback for him cracking your slide, right?
Oh, thanks.
Anyway, we reassemble the gun, shake it off, think that's weird, and then we're practicing a stage. I get the exact same target array that had happened the first time. It came apart again, only this time it didn't come out all the way enough for the plunger and spring to go flying down range. It was kind of hilarious. So anyway, practice with Andy, practice with Jim, and then it's kind of gun related. You know how airports don't have they have policies, but the employees don't know them, and you get inconsistency from airport to airport. So I was supposed to fly out on Saturday afternoon to go to Winnipeg, and Jim was flying out Saturday morning. So we're like, let's get your flight changed. So I called, and they're like, sure, $400. So I'm like, no. They're like, well, just go to the airport with your buddy in the morning and ask them to change it then. And if there's room, they'll change it, but they're going to charge you $100. I'm like, fine, I can live with $100. So the flight leaves at like 7:30 in the morning and gets you into Winnipeg at 9:30 in the morning. There's no possible way ever in the history of aviation that a flight from Halifax to Winnipeg on a Saturday morning has been sold out. So I know I'm going to be good, right? So we go to the counter, the two of us. We've each got 2 bags. One bag has our gun. One bag has our ammo. We didn't you can travel with your ammo in the bag with the gun, provided they're in separate containers and everything's locked. So we go to the counter. At the long story short, Adriel, here's what happened. He changed my flight, didn't charge me, took all 4 of our bags, didn't charge us for any of our bags. So when you're flying with a gun, you can't check in the night before. You have to go check in like a hobo traveling with a dog or something, right? So took all 4 of our bags, didn't charge us, actually asked us to deliver firearms declaration forms to Winnipeg because they knew they were going to run out in Winnipeg. So they called Halifax and are like, you got some passengers coming with guns? Yeah, ask them to bring us firearm declaration certificates. So maybe in exchange for delivering those, here's what we got. My flight changed for free. All 4 of our bags checked for free. And then he gives us our boarding passes, says, hold on, give them back to me. He takes them back, he tears them up, he puts them in the garbage, prints out 2 more boarding passes and says, here, I upgraded you to first class. You're sitting together. Enjoy your flight.
Aww.
All free. Moral of the story, WestJet. WestJet, kids. And I heard a little rumor that the president of WestJet is a firearms owner and a customer at the Calgary Shooting Center. So it's a non-communist airline.
Excellent.
All right. At the Nationals, I bought a gun and sold a gun. So Sean Hansen, the owner of Freedom Ventures, an IPSC type business in Halifax, had this. And this is a STI 2011, but not just any STI 2011. It's the Apiro. And the Apiro has a island barrel. An island barrel is a barrel that has the front sight actually machined into the barrel, not onto the slide. So as the slide reciprocates, the front sight does not reciprocate with the slide. It remains on the barrel. So in theory, you only track the front sight as the muzzle climbs, not as the muzzle climbs and the slide moves back and forward again. Supposed to be faster. I don't know if it is or not. Until the DVC line came out, this was STI's nicest 2011. And it belonged to Sean. So it's been worked over. It has a cylinder and slide trigger kit in it. I made some of my own changes to it.
Cylinder and slide trigger kit. Can you tell us what that is?
It's a trigger kit that's made out of really nice hard parts. The finishing on them is excellent. The hammer is bobbed. There is no hammer on the back of the hammer, and they have to be fitted and then trigger job done, and then it's minty. So it has a really nice feel when you pull the trigger, when the sear and the hammer. They're basically making love is what they're doing in there. If I hear romantic music playing every time I pull the trigger, to be perfectly honest, I'm sure there's medication for that, but I don't want to take it.
It'll dull your senses.
Exactly.
Probably stop hearing voices.
I did a couple of upgrades to it to kind of customize it to my own. So the trigger here, I took out the trigger that was in there and put in an STI short reach trigger because of the, for the short fingers and stuff. I also have a threaded magazine release, which it didn't have before, an extended thumb button, which it didn't have before. And then the last two things I put on, this is a DVC grip. So all the new DVC line pistols from STI have this new grip. So it's had a grip reduction done, a flat mainspring housing. This really cool texture has been added to it. And the trigger guard has some undercuts. So you can see those undercuts here, which allow you to get your support hand a lot higher onto the gun. Yeah, it's really, really sweet. What else? That's it. Oh, and I had this RHT thumb rest. So Rick Crane's going to find this hilarious. I sold him my Tanfoglio Limited Custom Extreme, and I originally had that on the gun. And I didn't like how it fit, so I took it off, and I sold Rick the gun. I'm like, if I find it, I'll send it to you. Sorry, Rick.
You found it.
I found it. Good news. Good news, I found it. Bad news, Rick. I love it on my STI. So I don't know. Maybe if you really want it, I'll send it to you, or maybe I'll give you money or something. I don't know, but it's not coming off this gun because it fits. And I had one on my Eagle 2011 as well too, and like it a lot. Sometimes the thumb rest, Adriel, when you put it on, it actually pushes your hand back, which isn't where you want. You want your hand, of course, you want your support hand to be canted forward as much as possible. So look at that. When it's on there, you can. My hand is in the correct orientation.
Nice. Yeah.
If they're too far forward, your hand hands up like this. And that's how it was on the Tanfoglio. But that is, look at that.
Perfect. Yeah.
All right. So I sold my Tanfoglio and bought this. He had it a couple of, he's had it for a while, and I asked him to buy it a couple of years ago. He said no. And at the Nationals, I walked up and it was on his table in the vendor's area. So I got it. The other thing I bought while I was at the Nationals is I upgraded my holster. I went from a Blade Tech with a Sierra Speed hanger. Love the Sierra Speed hanger. The Blade Tech was not as nice as this. So I prefer the Sierra Speed hanger, but I really like the Ghost Stinger holster. It's Kydex, it's friction fit, but it's just sleek and cooler looking. And the cut in the front is a lot lower. So in theory, you're supposed to be able to clear the holster faster. I don't think anybody can really, if you can draw a gun, you can draw a gun. And I don't think it's a lot faster out of this than it is out of the Blade Tech. But Ghost Stinger, loving it. I broke it in during the Alex Burdett class. That's something else we'll talk about here. But first, I made some upgrades to my SLR. So my SLR was on the show a couple of weeks ago, and it didn't have these things. So if you look in here, I've put in a Geissele Super Dynamic Maul Ninja Combat trigger. I think it's Super Dynamic Combat. I'm not sure. Anyway, it's a 2-stage trigger. It's not super light. It's still like 4.5 pounds, but it's got that nice flat face. It's really, really cool. Has a nice short reset. The other cool thing I put on was a Phase 5 bad lever. Now, I know Magpul kind of copyrighted bad lever, but it's a bad lever. Magpul bad lever won't fit on this gun just because of the way the upper and the lower are made. This one is all one piece machined. It doesn't bolt onto an existing bolt stop. It's all one piece. So it fits there in the trigger guard. And for the listeners that don't know what a bad lever does, it's a bolt battery assist lever. You can use it for when you run the gun dry and the bolt is locked back. You insert a magazine and you tap this with your finger, for those of you that are watching. When I say this, there's an arm that goes through the trigger guard right in front of the trigger, and you hit it with your trigger finger, and it sends the bolt home. Did that make you jump, Adriel? That was hilarious. You literally flinched.
No.
No, it looked like
No?
you jumped when you heard that. Oh, okay.
No.
Ideally, you don't want to ever run your gun dry. You want to do your mag changes before it runs dry. But if that happens, it's good to. It's great to get the bolt home.
The other thing it'll do is am I jumping ahead? Am I jumping in on something you're just about to say?
The most practical feature of the bad lever is that it allows you to lock the bolt back without having to do that ridiculous thing where you hold the front of the receiver, you pull the bolt with your support hand, you engage the bolt stop with your right hand, your hands are off fire control. That's all ridiculous. So with the bad lever, you charge the charging handle or rack the charging handle with your left hand, and then with your trigger finger, you use the bad lever to lock the bolt back during the unload and show clear, whatever. So, and then I believe I talked about this muzzle brake last time. It came from the Calgary Shooting Center. It's a SPA. It's awesome. First time I was shooting it, the gun was kicking directly to the right. It was completely horizontal, but just out to the right. So I went back to the range with an AR wrench and tuned it a little bit by turning it in the opposite direction. And now it comes straight back into me. So it just need to be, apparently it's not uncommon for a muzzle device to be kind of canted to one side or the other to get the perfect tune out of it, as opposed to just, putting everything straight up and down. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to recoil straight into your shoulder.
Well, there's the torquing that you get on the back, like a little bit, but yeah, I guess if you turned it a little bit, you might be able to counterbalance that torque a bit.
And that's what I did. Yep. Mm-hmm. Just a little bit more off center, and the gun was completely flat. So, then we had our multi-gun, our annual multi-gun. Muffin was the match director. He wanted to move the date. Typically, we do it after provincials, but since we were hosting provincials this year, we wanted to put it before provincials, because now that provincials are done, it's a rush to get the stages all torn down and put away from SummerSlam, multi-gun provincials. We kept the SummerSlam stages up all summer, and they were finished a month before the match. Like, they were finished in July, so they've been up all summer, and we put away before the snow flies, because they didn't all get put away last year. And we'd like to get hunting, so our competition season is done on our range, and we need to get everything put away. But the multi-gun match was good. Muffin was match director. We had 7 stages, and I won open. I ran my SLR, so I am declaring the first multi-gun victory with an SLR in Canada. Prove me wrong.
You heard it here first. First in Canada.
First
on the show.
Yep.
Unhistoric day.
It is. It's the first SLR multi-gun win that I'm aware of. If someone won one before me, let me know, and I'll fight you over it. The other thing that I did was I ran this bad boy. So this is my Typhoon F12, and thank you, Adriel, a million times. Thank you, Adriel, and thank you, Chad. Chad is putting something in the mail for me to make my Typhoon package even better. So what's really cool about the Typhoon is that, sure, it's a semi-automatic mag-fed shotgun. It looks like an AR-15, chambered in 12 gauge. So 5-round capacity, right? Wrong. 5-round capacity in the magazine designed for the gun. But what if your magazine was designed for a pump-action shotgun? A magazine-fed pump-action shotgun. So the UZCON AS46 is just that beast. It's a magazine-fed pump-action shotgun. Now, unfortunately, the follower doesn't lock the bolt back. And why would it? It's for a pump action.
Some of them. The magazines vary. These the Turk magazines are like all over the map for the way they make them. Yeah, so some of them you'll find like that.
So some people are changing the follower. Is that tempting fate? Is that modifying the magazine? Is it like taking a 40 cal pistol mag and putting a 9mm follower in it? I'm not going to be the test case.
You're not supposed to modify your mags.
Well, you can modify your mag if you keep it in the gun it was intended for. But yes. So I won't be doing it. But look at that bad boy. So that's 10 rounds, man. So, I mean, I was doing mag changes out of my pockets, and it was still faster than anybody doing quad loads. Now, that being said, there's not a whole pile of accomplished quad loaders at my range. If I went up against somebody who could do a quad load like a pro, I would certainly want to have a mag pouch or the clip system that Chad's I think he developed it. I don't know, but he's certainly using it. So that was a heck of a lot of fun. I learned, unfortunately, that this gun will not cycle 1 ounce loads.
Nope.
Learned the hard way. 1 1/8 minimum. Yeah. So my Versamax will, right? So I had made up a bunch of Gamer 3-gun loads for my Versamax. I loaded them all at 1 ounce. And it's great for clays. It'll knock down steel inside, 25 yards or whatever, but not enough oomph to cycle this Typhoon. So, but that was a lot of fun. I was able to shoot my multi-gun match with a Typhoon, which is a real badass semi-automatic shotgun, and my rifle was non-restricted. What's that?
I said, yeah, they look really cool. They got a bunch of like go fast parts on them. They're one of the coolest, gamiest shotguns you can buy.
Yeah. My only concern, it's Turkish. What happens if it breaks? How long is it going to last before it breaks? Does this company even exist anymore? So,
what is that? The Uzcon Typhoon?
No, it's the it's
Typhoon F12, right?
Yeah, the Typhoon F12. Yeah.
Yeah. So someone else will be making like basically the same shotgun to basically the same specs. I think the things that change are the mags and some of like the smaller parts around it. But there'll probably be someone making something for it. You'll just have to like test and trial out those different parts. That's the problem with it.
The thing is, too, that the popularity of those shotguns in IPSC in Europe is huge. There's tons of YouTube videos of Darias and Typhoons being shot in IPSC shotgun matches.
They're going to get real popular here in Canada because that is now the new open shotgun.
Yep. There'll be at least 3 of us shooting the IPSC Nova Scotia, or not IPSC Nova Scotia, but in Nova Scotia 3-gun. There's at least 1 Daria and 2 Typhoons that I know of, and 2 of the Typhoons are running the 10-round mags. Yeah, so
that news got out quick.
Oh yeah. The second you told me about it, I contacted the other Typhoon owner I know, who's a 3-gun guy. I was like, dude, 10-round shotgun, pump action shotgun mags. So speaking of magazines, actually we'll do this next. I got these bad boys in. So one of my IPSC buddies, Jeremy Crane, super cool guy. He was in the Alex class with us too. He brought in a bunch of these through Iron Guns. And what these are is a Rock River Arms model LAR 15 pistol magazine, 10-round capacity. But what separates it from other 10-round LAR mags is it's a full-length magazine body. What? But what about the Hex Mag? The Hex Mag was deemed to be prohibited, blah, 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 blah. We told you guys when the Hex Mag first came out that it wasn't labeled correctly. It was labeled as a pistol caliber carbine magazine.
Pistol carbine. Yeah.
Pistol carbine.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as a pistol carbine. It's either a pistol or a carbine. So they goofed that up. This is already a proven accepted brand by the RCMP. Now, the only confusing part of here is there seemed to be a lot of misinformation out there that a pistol magazine could not be a full-length rifle magazine. What do you know about that, Adriel? Anything?
Well, I mean, the Hex Mag, the other thing that was kind of weird with it was that the body was a full 30.
Mm-hmm.
It was a 30-round body, but it just had like a riser in the middle that attached to the floor plate. So you take the riser out and it fits more. You take the riser and the floor plate out and you put a regular floor plate and another spring. It's a full 30. So is that permanent? You need to add parts to it.
Yeah.
So like there was that kind of confusion around it. Whereas with that one, I mean, the letter of the law says designed for. So that one's designed for the existing pistol ARs that we have in Canada, which are the RRA LAR 15s. So like literally you could grab any mag at a manufacturer and say this is now a LAR 15 mag. It's 10-round capacity and start pumping them out as long as you have labeled them correctly and the old 10 rounds.
Right, which is really all Alexander Arms did with the Beowulf mag. All right. Press Check is the only one that designed from the ground up a legit Beowulf mag. There may have been one other polymer one after PressTech, but PressTech was the first one to say, let's design a 5-round Beowulf mag that'll only ever be a 5-round Beowulf mag. It's not a converted anything.
Correct.
So, but
they
yeah,
used the 223 follower, but that works with Beowulf.
So did Alexander Arms, I believe.
Yes, there was one that used more of a sled afterwards, but it wasn't a popular thing to use.
No,
because you don't need to. I mean, it doesn't matter with 50 because anything that pushes it to the top of the feed lips is good to go. The thing takes the whole width of the magazine.
Exactly. So why these are advantageous is for gamers like us who shoot multi-gun and 3-gun. They fit into a magazine pouch and are easy to retrieve because they don't. They're full length. The other 10 rounders, you always needed to attach something to the bottom, some kind of 3D printed extension, or couple two together. And coupling two together proved to be a nightmare. You had to secure them because they would slide back and forth on the coupler. Mm-hmm. You would drop them on the feed lips, and the feed lips would get damaged, and you didn't notice until the next stage. So that was
it's not faster to take a coupled magazine out, reverse it, and then put it back in. That's not faster than dropping your mag as you go to your mag pouch and then putting a new one in.
Amen. Absolutely. So, but yeah, so there they are. I got 3 of those. They were a really good price too. So thank you to Rick for that. If you're listening, those are awesome. Filthy got some too. The other thing I did was one night while drinking, I thought it would be fun to swap the stock on my M1 carbine. So this is one of the handful of Milsurp guns that I have. Only it's not a real Milsurp. The gun is post-war. It's a plain field, but it's certainly a lot better than the.
There's a new one, Auto Ordnance.
Universal. The Auto Ordnance isn't even 30 carbine. I think it's just in 9mm. But the Universal one is a nightmare. I think Filthy once said it's not a question of if it's going to shoot at a battery; it's a question of when. So anyway, this is post-war, and this stock is obviously a reproduction. The sling is genuine. On my regular stock, I had a genuine mag pouch that went on the butt stock, and I had genuine oil filler and stuff. The stock may have been genuine, but I can't say for sure. But for sure, this is a reproduction, because if you do find a genuine paratrooper stock for an M1 carbine, they're like stupid money. So I don't mind putting a repop stock on a post-war rifle anyway. So to call it a Milsurp is a bit of a not correct. So,
looks cool.
Yeah, it looks very cool. I have this stock and it's really cool. Why aren't I using it? It's got a pistol grip that's shaped a lot like a brick, so it's about as comfortable as a Glock. So,
it looks very functional.
Yep, I'm excited. I'm actually going to a Milsurp shoot in a couple of weeks. Can you believe that? Not that I'm going. Can you believe I'm excited?
A Milsurp shoot. So is it like a Milsurp rifle kind of a match?
It's not a match. It's just, hey, let's all get together and shoot our Milsurps and check out each other's Milsurps. And let's face it, there are guns here that I've never shot. So this is going to be an opportunity for me to shoot guns I've never shot before. Like, I don't think I've shot either of my Lee Enfields. I've not shot my M14 since I put it in the authentic, genuine Springfield Armory M14 stock. If anyone knows where I can get a dummy selector for that, please send me a link. I've not shot either of my Mosin Nagants. I did shoot my SVT 40, and that thing was horrible. Oh my god,
no, it was horrible.
It gave me the PTSD. It knocked a filling out of my tooth. Hello, like
wait till you shoot the Mosins. The SVT at least has a muzzle brake on it.
I have fired Mosins, but I had never fired an SVT 40. Now, I mean, in fairness, I shot it off the bench just to see what kind of group I would print at 50 with it.
That'll make a difference.
Oh yeah, standing would be so much better. So, what else have I gotten up to? Oh, we had a 2-day class with Canadian IPSC production champion Alex Burdett. So, really awesome class. My only criticism of the class was that there was downtime and there wasn't downtime. You got one-on-one, but then you paid for that one-on-one. He would set up a drill. 2 drills, 2 different drills, and he would put 2 guys on the line, load you up. You run your side A drill, then I run my side, and he talks to us, and we do it each 3-4 times, and then we switch. And you're running what I just ran, and I'm running what you just ran, and then we go away and we go practice what we learned on a stage. So in Restigouche, it was great. There was lots of distraction. We could take some of the stages from SummerSlam, set them up, and go practice those while we were waiting for our next moment of instruction. Some of the stuff was on the line, and I learned some stuff to incorporate into the Ferlacci training, a couple of cool drills. But some of it was one-on-one. So anyway, it was definitely worth it. I would do it again. As a matter of fact, I am doing it again, but what we're going to do, there's a daily rate involved, okay? So the more people up to a limit divided by that daily rate. It's done through XMetal, and this is how much XMetal needs per day to have him there, okay? So we're just going to pay that rate among a much smaller class size to get more one-on-one and more shooting done. So IPSC Provincials, that was held at Restigouche. Myself and Larry Shriver were the match directors, and I also got some range master experience there as well. Possibly, and I will stand corrected if someone will correct me, possibly the largest IPSC Provincials to date. 60 people were registered. We shot the match with 57, I think, what we started with. So it was 14 stages, and then followed by the AGM on Sunday. Everything went really, really well.
The largest New Brunswick provincials?
Yeah. We're lucky to see 30, 40 people at our provincial. So we hit 60, and there was a lot of people from out of province. We had people from Ontario. We had people from Quebec, Nova Scotia. We actually had a guy who he relocated to Nova Scotia, but I've seen him at Nationals. I've seen him at SummerSlam. He's a production optics shooter. He drove from BC to Nova Scotia in his truck, sleeping in his truck along the way. This guy's hardcore.
Whoa.
Yeah. And even when he was staying in our region, he was just crashing in his truck. It was pretty cool. So, and he did really well. There was a mistake in the awards at the end between, like, you can combine senior and super senior or something like that. And I don't know if that was done or something, but I wasn't happy that there was a boo-boo, but these things happen. So what are you going to do? And I'm not sure that it was a boo-boo. I got to go back and look at it. So anyway, also last night started to help my buddy Trevor build a 1911. He bought from the Wild West Shooting Center a completely stripped STI Trojan. And I mean completely stripped. The only thing they left on this gun was the tube that holds the spring and the detents for the takedown lever and the safeties. Mm-hmm. It needs everything. So I'm on the hunt for parts. If you got some parts that you could donate to this build, that would be awesome. I guess, think of it as a fundraiser.
But they're Nork parts.
If
I sent them, you'd probably just throw them in the garbage.
I don't know. I mean, he's not building a race pistol. He's building another pistol, and Trevor is a paramedic, and he does all of the safety stuff at my range, and he's a super nice guy, and he could use a little help right now without getting into any details. He's just a dude that needs some help. So if you got some 1911 parts, that would be awesome if you could send them my way and help him build this gun. It's his first 1911. I mean, come on. Finally, the Ferlacci class is canceled. Some people sent EMTs with a follow-up registration email. So we have your EMT and we don't know who you are. So it's hard for us to give you your money back. So if you did sign up and pay, please send us an email so that we can cancel your EMT and send it back to you. Or it's already been cashed, but we would like to return your money. So if you could send us an EMT, or not send us an EMT, send us an email. We'd like to get you your money back. So there you go, Adriel. That was just about 30 minutes, maybe more.
What? Oh yeah,
it's your turn.
Show note. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I've got it all up. Let's see here. I went to the CCFR/Chaz town hall with we had a couple of conservative MPs, MLAs, whatever. One of them two.
Maybe both.
Maybe both. There was Motts there, who I believe is the shadow minister for public safety or something. I'm real helpful here. Hey,
Yeah, you did a great job.
Yeah, thank you. We described it last week on the show. There, I'll tell you about my how it went. So we had one crazy person who showed up and sat next to me.
Auntie?
No. Conspiracy theory. So he comes in late, sits next to me, and starts talking about the UN wanting to, I don't know, scan our brains and how he's a welder and he knows metal and 9/11 was a conspiracy. It was like, what the heck? So we kicked it. He left after people are like, what are you doing? Get out of here, kind of thing. So he left, which was nice. And then the candidates were actually really well spoken. They talked about the bills at hand. They largely talked about C-71 and C-75. I think a lot of the attendees wanted to talk about the right to self-defense and simpler classification rules. I think one of the things that the Conservatives have been looking at is a simplified classification system.
Yes.
What's up?
You'll have to see the video later. I apologize. Carry on.
Okay. So that was kind of how that went. It was really interesting. I've never been to something like that before, and given that it was both a CCFR and my local range, the Chaz was helping put it on. I knew a lot of the people there, and that was interesting. I went bow hunting over the weekend. I set up about 6 game cams just to get some out there to see what's going on. I had one tree stand that's kind of older and metal and had for like a million years. I redeployed that one, and I got a new one that Cabela's sent me. It's a 20-foot tall, like man and a half. I think it's like the Big Denali or something like that they called it. The safety features on it are different. They're all like, okay, my original one, it's a metal tree stand. The ladder sections don't bolt together. They're just kind of loose, and hopefully you've got some weight on that ladder part if you've deployed it correctly. And you have a guy hold the bottom, you climb up it, and then at the back of the ladder stand where it hooks around the tree, you put a ratchet strap, right? And that's the safety on it, and that's it. Whereas this thing had, you put the thing up, you got a couple straps that, like, on the ground, you loop around the tree, and then you ratchet strap that down. So it's actually, you secure the thing before even climbing up it, and then you climb up it and you attach a couple of extra things to it. So that was really interesting.
That's very different. I used to put my climbing sticks on the tree, climb up, harness myself to the tree with just my linesman belt, and then I would pull my tree stand up and attach it to the tree.
So this is a ladder stand, right? So it's a full ladder. You put it up against a tree, and then you don't need climbing sticks or anything to put against a tree or anything like that. Or you don't need a lineman's belt.
Ladder stands are great if you have an opening, like an alleyway where you can like stand it up. If you're in tight bush and stuff,
it would be hard.
Ladder stands are usually great for like a bear stand because you got lots of open area where your bear bait and stuff is.
Or in Alberta where like the places, the places where I hunt we don't, but like northern Alberta we definitely do.
Oh yeah.
So I set that guy up. Super comfortable, nice seat, fantastic. It came with a harness, like a what do you call it? Fall arrest body harness. Yeah. I have not used one of those before.
What?
Nope.
I'll never leave the ground without one, man.
Oh, the video that I watched was like, "You'd never leave." I'm like, "Oh, okay, news to me." But I guess I'll be safe now. I guess. That's the thing. I guess
I've got probably 2 of those harnesses. Usually, me and whoever else I bring with me to act as a cameraman. I use the linesman belt when I'm going up the tree, and then when I'm in the tree sitting down, I've got the harness that it's attached from the center of your back, and that's tied around your head. Or not around your head.
I learned about this all just recently. Yeah, you attach yourself to the tree.
You don't have to take a bow hunter safety course?
No.
You just
keep in mind,
Alberta, I'm gonna go kill someone with a bow.
I took my hunter safety course when I was 12. Like
Wow.
it's been a couple of decades at least. Maybe they have it now. Maybe they like talk about that kind of stuff.
Well, my bow hunter safety course, they definitely talked about
Yeah.
tree stands and harnesses and whatnot.
Mm, mm.
Wow.
But that was probably within the last decade or two.
Me? Oh, absolutely. It was like 2005. Wow.
Yeah, mine was in the 90s or early 90s, late 80s kind of thing, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Early 90s.
No one gave a crap about harnesses and tree stands then.
Yeah, or safety or anything like that. Now they do. Now they're very
Now it's a
safety
thing,
conscious. Yeah, safety is a thing. Too many people falling out of deer stands
every year.
Yeah. So
Great
yeah,
way to
set that up.
turn yourself into a quadriplegic.
Yeah, leave yourself stranded out in the bush. Become the bear bait.
Mm-hmm. That
So,
would suck. Being eaten alive because you can't crawl away.
very poetic.
Yeah, truly.
I saw about 8 white-tailed deer, never close enough to take a shot at. But yeah, a lot of white-tailed deer out there. And for the first time, I saw a ringneck pheasant. So
Really?
Yeah, they like I've never seen one in the wild. I've heard that they have them down south. You don't see them around here. I think the coyotes and the wolves would eat them. But I was interested, so I took a look on the big game sites and that kind of thing. And apparently there's a release site, 20 clicks or so south of where I typically hunt. So interesting. There's going to be pheasant there. I don't know if there's a specific license for pheasant. I don't think I'm going to get that one just to, on the off chance that one comes by, I'll just leave them and look at them.
We have them here in New Brunswick, and I hunted them last year on Boxing Day with Captain Andy.
Cool.
Unsuccessfully. I think I only got 2 out of like
That's
25 birds that were released. But anyway,
well, were you hoping to get all of them? Like who released them?
Well, we were at
that was that release, the private thing, right?
Yeah. It was a lodge or whatever.
So you're not expected to just go clean them all out, but more than 2.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, don't worry. I came home with a bag full of meat, but I only connected on 2. The rest of the boys took pity on me and sent me home with the pheasants.
How are they to eat?
They're good. They're good. They're like a game bird. They're not like super gamey or anything. They're like a small chicken. So I need to actually eat some. I haven't eaten any in a while.
Just deciding on whether to get that pheasant license or not, on the off chance that they come by. I mean, grouse definitely. I'll game bird definitely, but pheasant, I don't know. Anyways,
I don't know if today's opening day. Today might be opening day on the Quebec side, and it never occurred to me to buy a license and go hunt on the Quebec side. And one of my archery buddies, who I hunted with last fall a lot, he was over there this afternoon, and by 4:00, he already had 7 birds down.
Wow.
Yeah. And
really
he worked all day too, so I think he got them in the first hour that he was off work. So, Yep.
I mean, they're super easy to spot running around in the short grass of of the plains.
You better be careful going on the Quebec side with a gun. Better find out what's what with that.
Yeah. Okay, saw some of them. What else I do here? I replaced the gas block and the gas tube on my 3-gun AR. I was having some. I finally nailed down that it was short stroking, so I replaced those 2. I changed out the BCG as well, so hopefully that stuff will work. I changed out the gas block with one of those Maple Ridge Armory pincer glass blocks. They're pretty cool, and they had sponsored one of the 3-gun matches that we had there, and I've got it, so gonna use that. I ordered a bunch of CZ 40 cal mags for 3-gunning. So I think I'm gonna
do that. You don't have a 40 cal pistol.
Yeah, I don't. Oh, is that 40? Looks a little bit small. Still loads in there though.
Weird.
Yeah, weird. No.
So you didn't even know enough to buy 9mm mags for your gun, so you bought 40 mags.
Well, now I've got both.
Well, I guess you're just gonna. I mean, you bought them. You might as well use them.
Yeah. If they'll fit, if they'll work. So for 3-gun, yeah, I've noticed the guys running these 40 cal ones, and I was like, were there any modifications you have to do to them? And like, nope, the 40 and the 9 are the same. They just have the dimple a little bit lower on the mag body, but if you look at the actual feed lips, they're the same between the 9 and the 40. So
it reminds me of these mags.
FNS.
Yep. Would you look at that? Look how one dimple is lower than the other.
I just wish that the 40 mags on the CZ had the same like lighter dimpling as the FNS ones, because it would work just great there.
Yep. Yeah, because you're right. The lighter dimpling on the 40 really, well, it makes 6 rounds difference.
6.
You're at 13?
No.
Oh, no, not 6. No. Oh, I messed up the math again.
Yeah. More than that.
4.
Anywho, so I got some of those. I am gonna try getting out to as many of the IPSC Saturday nights that they have at Phoenix. They have them about every second Saturday night kind of thing over the winter. So I'm looking forward to those. I don't know if I mentioned on the show before, but Jeff Chang of the Practical Pistol podcast with Ben Stoger, he puts on those matches. So I kind of want to get on those.
Jeff Chang?
Yeah, that one.
I didn't know he was Canadian.
Yeah, Canadian, Edmontonian, puts on IPSC matches at Phoenix. So it's like,
so
we'll do those.
So Ben is podcasting with 2 Canadians.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. That's crazy.
It changes them out every once in a while. So sometimes it's Jeff, sometimes it's Alex, sometimes he's got a couple of other guys on there, but a couple Canadians on there.
Hopkins, he used to have Hopkins on there.
Mm-hmm. Hopkins not a Canadian? No.
Oh, he rotates through the Canadians.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
And sometimes he'll have 2 on.
Cool.
What else? I'm going to go to the range this weekend and shoot that WK-180C. Test the AR with the new gas stuff on there.
How many rounds you put through the 180 already?
None yet. I've been bow hunting. It's bow season.
So what? Take it. I don't understand.
So I'm not going to take it to where I hunt and blast off a bunch of rounds and scare off the deer and that kind of thing.
I see.
Yeah, but I will take it to the range. I want
to see a picture of that thing sitting on a scale.
I told you it's 7 pounds with nothing on it.
I know what you said.
7 pounds.
I
got a sighting a hunting rifle. I've got a 308 Savage Axis 2. I might use that, or I don't know. Maybe I should use something else. If you listeners think I should use something else, I don't know. Email the show and tell me what I should use, and I'll use that instead. So preferably a gun I haven't reviewed yet, because I've reviewed most of the hunting rifles out there. And I think that's about it. We're running smaller 3-gun matches for October and November, like Les Bays kind of thing, and they're selling out quick. So we're only running like a cap of 40 people, and we sold out morning of, kind of a thing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I was saying like 3-gun is popular out here. Our wait list for that match is 23 deep. Yeah. There's a lot of demand for 3-gun out here, and it's all happened this year. It's the change has been really substantial.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's it for me.
Cool. All right, let's go into upcoming events. The first one is the CRPS season finale, and that'll take place on September 22nd, 23rd at Petawawa.
Yeah, this weekend coming up.
Register on PractiScore. Don't even know if it's still open. So
it is. I just checked.
All right. Well, and I'm taking that out. And of course, as always, for 3-gun events, visit 3gun.ca. This week's matches are at Terrence in BC, Prince Albert in Saskatchewan. Next weekend, Cold Lake, Alberta, and Rock Cut in Ontario, Lethbridge in Alberta, and Milo in Alberta. For Maple Seeds, of course, go to mapleseedrifleman.com. SummerSlam, don't bother. Interesting thing about SummerSlam, and this is not going to make me wildly popular. A bunch of people registered and didn't pay. So why are you registering if you're not paying? If there's not some kind of alternative arrangements made? I got people with cash in hand who want a spot. I didn't open a wait list. I figured 200 people, that's it. People will drop off and then the spots can open up or whatever. But I got the match is sold out. People who are sending money who haven't even gotten a spot, but people who have got spots who haven't sent money. So I put on Facebook twice, like, you got till Friday to pay for your spot, then I'm deleting you.
So within Practice Score, do an export of all your registrants.
Yeah.
And anyone who hasn't been, like, you can mark them as paid in the system there, or in your own system.
I mark them on the website, yeah.
And then email them as well. Email them and say, like, hey, you all haven't paid. You have X number of days, and then your spot is toast, and I'm putting it up to the next person who's got cash in hand.
All right. So that's a lot better than just putting it on Facebook.
Yeah.
So I can export the list and then just copy and paste the people who haven't paid into a email and send it.
Yep.
All right. That's what I'm going to do then. Cool. Thank you, Adriel, for the suggestion. Rather than just zapping them and assuming they see it on Facebook, I will email them personally. Okay. News. Federal government to consult public on banning handguns. Take it away, Adriel.
This just came out today, and it's I think bad news. So we've had the Trudeau government looking at examining the possibility of a handgun and assault weapon ban. This is now.
How often is the public consulted on something, and how often are they consulted on something that they may know absolutely nothing about? This is not a consultation. I consult experts. I ask people their opinion.
Well, you could, like, one of the things that will happen and has been happening to gun owners is tyranny through majority, right? Mm-hmm. So you can have a democratic process, i.e., ask a whole bunch of randoms, hey, what do you think about, should we ban handguns? Like, you don't have one of those, do you? And ask the questions in such a way to get them to give you the answer that you want.
Yep.
And make it seem as if most people want to ban them, even if they did, like, they just don't know about what the law is. I don't think most Canadians really understand how restrictive
handguns are already banned. They don't understand that handguns are already banned. They're already illegal.
And they don't understand that I think a lot of them are coming in through the U.S. and are already illegal as they get smuggled in. So, anyways, back to the article. The consultation is going to be held by Bill Blair. One of the first ones is going to be a town hall in Toronto, and I think I actually have this as a separate news item. Yes, I have it as a separate news item just below. It's this weekend, so head out to that one. I'm sure that'll be interesting because that one's been shared on both sides now, so it should have a good protest and counter protest vibe going on there. This is again, yeah, they're going to be consulting the public. We don't know if this is going to be work groups, or if this is going to be surveys, or if this is going to be them calling a bunch of people. I don't personally really like the feel of this, because you can ask any question you want to get to the answer you want when you do a survey, and you can very much lead someone into an answer. And again, like we'd already mentioned there, I don't think most people really understand like how restrictive handgun ownership is. So if you guys want to do something, definitely post on your Facebook that owning handguns is difficult, and that the people who are doing so are following like a lot of laws and are already vetted, already have background checks run daily and nightly and that kind of thing. And let more people know out there, because if they do a survey and they hit someone that you've talked to, hopefully they'll vote in our favor. Actually, we've got enough laws, because our handgun gun control is quite restrictive.
Right. They need only enforce the laws already on the books if they want to help curb some gun crime.
But like the general public thinks like, oh, they need more laws, but it's actually like, no, actually they've got pretty good laws. They just need to, start to do something about those laws and start to enforce them. and everything would be fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Conservative slam backdoor registry.
Yeah, this one was just recently here as well. This was yesterday. They actually brought up 1601, 16. What was the e-petition against C71 that had about 80,000 signatures on it?
Oh, I don't recall. It was 84,000.
Yeah, they brought that one up, and basically they were slamming the Liberals, saying like, "Hey, C71 it's not a good bill. It's not doing anything against criminals. It's yes, sorry, thanks, Dave. It's 1608 that they're referring to here."
Dave would know.
Yeah, and yeah, they're saying it unfairly targets hunters and sports shooters who've already gone through background checks and that kind of thing. We like this is very much preaching to the choir on this show here, but the Conservatives did table it. They did vow to repeal and replace C71 if they're elected, kind of a thing. So,
which they will be in October 2019. It cannot come fast enough.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if it doesn't happen, it's going to be bad news for us, because the direction that they're going right now with examining a handgun and assault weapons ban it will lead to
they're setting it up,
fabricating the evidence they need to get that going.
Yep. Yeah. RCMP have no records to support claims of straw purchases.
You want me to take that one? This is an article on Dennis R. Young's website. He's the guy that filed the ATIP that found out that the Toronto police were again making stuff up when they were saying like, oh, actually, most of these crime guns that we're finding are sourced from domestic sources. Now he filed an ATIP for some sort of support from the RCMP that straw purchases are again a major vector for getting illegal guns into the hands of criminals, and they don't really have any records to support that. So they responded to him saying, "Oh yeah, you asked for some sort of evidence or this or this or this or this just to talk about straw purchases, and we don't have any of that."
Yeah. So if he can't get it, how did the folks in Toronto who said that get it? Wait, they didn't. They just lied.
Yep. Yeah. They just lied with no evidence, and
and no one would dare call them out publicly on it.
Mm-hmm. Well, luckily, like some of the news channels out there have mentioned that the original stat that was ballied about frequently was this 50% of crime guns are from domestic sources. And when we've been getting these ATIPs back, these accesses to public information, we've been finding out, oh, wait a minute, these numbers are like really bad. And as soon as we take it down to stuff that we can track, it's actually not 50%. It's way less than that. So we've been finding this out as we've been going along. And some of the news channels have been printing retractions or have been printing, in some cases, opinion pieces that talk about the retraction or talk about the fact that the data was just wrong. So some minor victories, but a lot of losses in terms of public opinion, because these articles are going out and going out with a lot of shares behind them, but the retractions don't.
No, they don't. Who is the People's Party of Canada?
That you haven't heard of that? That's Max Bernier's party. They're also talking about joining with the Libertarian Party.
Oh, okay. Well, interesting. Maybe I don't dislike Max quite so much anymore for taking his ball and going home. Well, listen to this. The People's Party of Canada, a fair gun policy for Canada. Here's the highlights. Make firearms safety courses more widely available. So that addresses the fact that there are long wait lists in different regions of Canada for people to get in to take their firearms license. Mm-hmm. If you slow down the flow of people getting licenses, then you slow down the amount of firearms owners in Canada. It's gun control through wait lists. Double the length of firearms licenses from 5 to 10 years. classify firearms based on function, not appearance. That one could hurt us, actually.
No, I think that one talks about the practical
Right,
classification.
but if it twisted sideways.
No,
Yeah.
the practical classification that they so that's referring to the conservative one that they tabled in, I think, Vancouver just recently here, and it's super straightforward. It's
Good.
prohib if this. It's restricted if this. They're like 3 rules to each of these classifications.
Okay,
it's
well, that's the way it
super duper simple. That is the way it should be, because that removes the risk of this bouncing between an RCMP or CFO responsibility and a bureaucrat responsibility or a committee responsibility. I don't want either of them to preside over it as it is right now. They need to preside over it when it's making some sense, and it's easy to figure out which ones are or aren't restricted, non-restricted, prohibited.
I concur. Repeal magazine size restriction is the next point they have. Reimburse gun owners for property loss resulting from previous government gun grabs and future gun grabs. Well, if they go with the classify them based on appearance, there'll be no more gun grabs. Canadian firearm laws are broken, and I want to fix them. Stop the harassment of law-abiding gun owners and respect the rights of firearms owners. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So this party right now is basically a website, though.
We'll see if they and Max. He raised some money. The Libertarian Party is, talking about maybe working with them. Like, politically, I would match closer to the Libertarian Party and Max's party than I would the Conservatives, but they don't really stand a chance at winning this year. So
exactly,
maybe next year.
Maybe
next year.
I should join anyway. But
yeah.
All right, let's jump into new gun stuff, and then we're gonna wrap this thing up. You got one here, Tenda. What's going on with Tenda?
They have a big sale on PMC ammo.
That's not new gun stuff. That's something for sale. That's
for
not
cheap.
It's not a
cheap.
new.
$3.99 for 1,000 rounds of 223. That's cheap.
That is cheap. That is cheap. I got cases of Norinco that I was selling for the owner of X Metal from his own personal stuff. 1,140 rounds for $325 tax in.
Is that the Nork CJ25 stuff?
Yep.
Now the problem that I would be shooting that, but I got a ton of pierced primers with it.
Really?
Yeah. So and I didn't like getting that much brass back in the action on my AR, so I went with other stuff.
Huh. Well,
and I had a couple of cases blow out the side.
Right. Well, I'm still saying this doesn't belong here because new gun stuff is where we review new products to the market, not ammo on sale. We discussed this. You're in timeout. Let's move into our main topic, shall we?
All right.
And once again, I'd like to thank Paul Barrow for joining us to talk about, IPSC in Newfoundland. Not something that we get to hear much about. We actually don't get to hear much about our Newfie gunny brethren over on the Rock. So that was kind of a cool treat for the listeners. There's no listener feedback. Is there any YouTube questions?
There was a question on recommended cheap electronic muffs.
Cheap? I'm not recommending cheap. You get what you pay for. You buy cheap, you get cheap. They stop working in 30 days.
A lot of people like the Howard Lay Impact Sport ones.
Yes, as a matter of fact. And yeah, cheap is relative. I mean, the impacts are great. I've had 2 different types of Peltors. I mean, what do you consider cheap, Adriel? Let's start there. What's cheap?
Like $50 is cheap.
Okay. For me, $100 is a cheap set when the good ones cost $300. So anything under $100, I don't think is worth buying. But you can, and I mean, that's tax in. The razors, sometimes you can get the razors on sale as low as like $70, but razors, Walker razors are usually in the $80 range. My new Peltors after the gel cups were $200, worth every penny.
I would agree there. The problem I had with the Howard Lay Impacts was they provided like a really poor seal around shooting glasses and the hat and that kind of thing. So
the good news is they've improved their cup since the early days. So buying hearing protection online is risky, guys, unless you know what you're getting. Like if your buddy has a pair and you like them, go order those. But otherwise, oh, sight unseen, buyer beware, because the way they appear in the photo online may not be what you get when you get them home. And like Adriel said, the foam cups don't fit around your hearing protection. They push into your head. Oh God.
Well, there were some knockoff Howard Lays on the market for a while as well. So if you bought them off Amazon, you might have got one of the knockoff ones as well. And there's some articles online to check whether you've got the real ones or the knockoff ones.
Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So there's a couple of names, but be careful what you like. Again, buyer beware. I bought some inexpensive Peltors and they died in a month. Then I bought some more expensive Peltors and I've been running them since the Ferlacci class. And buy something that you can upgrade to gel cups would be my recommendation. So listener feedback, if we had any, it would be brought to us by Highlander Tactical. Go to highlandertactical.com to check out a great supply of both outside and inside the waistband holsters today. Use promo code SLAMFIRE at checkout to get 10% off your order. So just because we don't have listener feedback doesn't mean you can't order a holster, okay? If you would like to send us some listener feedback, you can do so by sending it to slamfireradio@gmail.com. And shout outs. Adriel, do you have any?
Nope, go ahead.
All right. So to the crew at the Rescue Gun Club, I've never had so much help and support to put on matches as I have had this year. And it means the world to me. It was a crazy 2018 was a mental year, and new people stepped up, and people that have been around for a while continued to be around and put up with all the crap and my miserable attitude, my bad jokes. And we had one of the best seasons we've ever had in Restigouche this year, with the Steel Challenge, with the Black Badge, with the charity shoot, with SummerSlam, with the multi-gun that was Muffins, and with the IPSC New Brunswick Provincials. And now people are going to help tear it all down and put it away. I've been going to nationals the last couple of years, and I see some of the challenges that the match directors out there face. And literally after being in Winnipeg, they did a good job. They had a lot of challenges and a lot of work, and it was all ready to roll and perfect by the time the match was put on. But man, it made me want to come home and hug my crew. But since most of them have issues and don't like to be touched, I didn't do it. But I got to tell you, the people I work with in Restigouche are second to none, and we're going to be hosting the Canadian Nationals in 2021. And I have no anxiety whatsoever because I have such a awesome crew of people right now. It's going to be better than it was in 2013 because of the crew of people I have.
You're super lucky to have a crew like that in a less populated area like Restigouche, because that's exactly one thing that I keep hearing over and over again is people they can't get enough volunteers, they can't get enough core people to do the work, and that's super important to foster at a club is getting that volunteer participation.
Yep, it is. And I mean, it seems like every time we get a new person who joins the club, they're like, all right, what can I do to help? Recently, that's what it's like. And we've just been getting some fantastic people. So and to everyone I worked with at the IPSC Nationals in Winnipeg, you guys were awesome. I had some really fun work crews while I was there working for 4 days. To Kyle and Morgan, it was awesome to see you guys. It was awesome to meet Kyle Marconi in person. And Justin and Stormy. Justin is an IPSC shooter from Filthy's Club who I gave his black badge to this spring. Stormy is his pit bull, and they've stayed here a couple times now, and they are always welcome. Justin is after McClatchy's job. McClatchy is my right-hand man during SummerSlam, and he helps me get everything organized and loaded in and out of the truck and make sure I don't forget stuff. Justin was literally writing down stuff, taking notes of the things we had to do. Like, I know Matthew would be happy to let me fire him and replace him with Justin, but I'm not going to do that. I think what I'm going to do is maybe make Justin Matthew's assistant, or I might
Matthew too.
Yeah, Matthew too. Matthew and Matthew too. Thing one, thing two, Chocolate Thunder. I don't know. Maybe Matthew will be Justin's assistant. I don't know. But anyway, if you're listening, Justin, it was so awesome to have you guys here. I mean, you and Stormy here for provincials. I could have got it done without you, but it would have been a lot more work. So thank you very much. Patreonies, we're up to 89. You guys put out a Patreon show just last week, didn't you?
Yes, it was a video unboxing of my WK180C.
Cool. All right.
So if you're a Patreon and you're listening to this and you're like, what are you talking about? Go on to the Patreon feed and there should be a video there waiting for you.
Awesome. Okay. So until next time, please join one of our national firearms associations, such as the CCFR. More important to do so now than ever because, I mean, they're talking about banning stuff. We need the numbers.
The thing we need is public opinion.
Yep. Yeah. So join the CCFR and help educate the non-gun owning public so that they don't get lied to and sold a bill of lies. Check us out in the Gun Owners of Canada and like us on Facebook. We're at 1973. Wasn't that the year you were born, Adriel?
No,
it's not even the year I was born.
No.
It's not the year Kelly was born either. So
I got carded today at the liquor store.
That's hilarious.
He's like, do you want to see your license? And I'm like, why? Why do I need to show you? And he's like, oh, just in case. They're like, what?
In case you have gray hair in your beard.
Yeah.
And you're bald.
Yeah, I figured a gray beard would be fine, but I don't know, he's humoring maybe.
Ridiculous.
Yep.
Well, until next week, everybody, here's hoping you get carded too.